All right, it is Monday, time for Powershift your week. Hope everybody had an amazing weekend. I know the summer is up in full swing. I hope you were practicing social distancing as well as not being stuck to all the news channels and obviously I want you to update yourself on what's going on, but even the CDC says whether it's the coronavirus or anything else that's you are challenged with. Mental health is important, and over information about the same topic, as we all know, can really wait. So let me get this tag going right here. Let me pin my I've become a master at pinning comments. Let's see. Boom. Boom. All right. So I pinned the comment. Powershift Your Week presented by T-Mobile for Business. Thank you, everybody. As I was opening up, make sure when you're looking at the news and all that kind of stuff, you don't overwhelm yourself because, the cycles, they keep repeating. So if you heard the story once, then you heard it twice and three times. Then after that, by that time, you are allowing it to take control of your weekend and your day. And I want you all to be happy and or productive because we got enough stuff to deal with in our everyday lives before all this other craziness went on. I don't know if you can see in the background. I see my chickens are back there. See, let's see if I can lift that up there. You see my chickens? See them back there? That's yeah, there they go. They're hanging out back there. We don't eat our friends, just so you know. Why do I have chickens? Because they are guinea hens, actually, and chickens. The chickens each produce an egg a day, but the guinea hens, each one's supposed to eat 1,000 ticks a day. And up here in upstate New York, in my secret lair, there are ticks, and that creates Lyme disease. And Lyme disease is a serious, serious matter. As well as, of course, I have bats, and each bat eats 1,500 mosquitoes a night. But anyway, that's just a bunch of things I like to give to you so you can know to be the smartest person in the room tomorrow when you are talking to somebody, whether in the room or online. But let's start off with my segment, of course. I love to educate everybody here. Let me fix this camera back again so I can be in frame. All right, so did you know? Be quiet, chickens. Did you know that according to Statista, as of 2019, mobile devices, excluding tablets, generated about half of websites' traffic globally. Half of the website's traffic out there is on mobile devices. All right. So let me tell you a story. I love to tell stories. When we started really going onto the internet, and we were really cranking. We would put up the designs, the flat designs of what we did, basically the catalog. We put that up on the internet and let people buy from those styles. And in Fubu and our other company, Kuji, and we didn't have great sales. Actually, it was counterproductive because we would spend millions of dollars and we would put all this clothing and all these music videos, and we would do all these great photo shoots for advertising, marketing, but we didn't understand that when people went to their computers at the time, because obviously cell phones weren't, that was back in the flip phone days. They would go on, and the image that they would see would be a flat drawing of what a beautiful sweater. There was the sweater. If we would have taken a great shot of the sweater, it would look way different. They didn't buy. Actually, they got detracted from buying. They got uninterested because their first sight of the sweater when they were trying to attain it, forget in the music video. They see it in the music video, looks great, looks sexy, can't wait to buy it. They go on and they see this flat thing, this picture look like a kid drew it, because that's how we do in the fashion industry a lot of times, and they turned away from it. They would go to somebody else's site who had better imagery. And that's 10 times more important today. Because today, they don't go home or whatever the case is to the office. They think or hear about your product and they go right. Hey! Sorry, everybody. Maybe we should eat our friends. Now, they go right to your site. Right. Hey! It's so annoying. They go right to your site right now, and then they go and look at your stuff, your product and or whatever. I gotta scare them away. I bet you never expected that one in one of my segments. We're gonna call it the chicken segment. All right. They would go. They would go right to your site now when they hear about your product. Anything like, listen. When I'm out here with my guys or anybody, I hear about something, I go right to a site. And why? What am I getting at? Why is this important for you to know? Because a lot of times I've looked at investments in people, and they say, I go to their site and I go, this person's not technically proficient, or they don't understand branding or marketing, because I make a quick judgment on people, because whether I'm investing in them, I say, well, the whole world now is moving mobile, and we're going to lose sales, and this person doesn't understand what's going on. And it's hard enough for me to run my site and my business and my social media and everything else, even though I have a great team. And even though we have a great team, we always make mistakes, right? There's always going to be spelling mistakes. There's always going to be, pictures that are not done right, or whatever the case is. So I say all that to you to say that your calling card is your website. And if you think about all that traffic, if you think about the stat was, how many people do you say on the stat? The stat was half of the website traffic globally. That means all the people that have desktops that are working in companies, all the people that have laptops, all the people that are doing, they're not even going through there. They're really going through their mobile device. So I'm checking into you, who you are personally. I'm checking into your brand, your product. I'm checking into how the product is displayed. And you need to be able to learn from that and take away from that. What are some simple tips that you can do? Understand photography. Understand the elements. I mean, we just had I forgot her name, who was on just recently, who was talking about the ways to shoot things and the motivation of light and the way that the things could be, really in one corner, and you want all this space because it drags your eye to this corner. Understand how to shoot things. I mean, with our phones today and technology, we can shoot anything. So don't take it casually. It is and think about it. A lot of the ways that your product is out there, social media and everything, those sites are free, right? Instagram is free, right? We're on a device right now. It's free. Now, maybe it won't be free forever, but I'm not complaining that it's free for now, right? So just think about it like that. And I want you to make sure that you understand that and get feedback. Get feedback from people around you on how your site is, how they can make it better. All right. And when you get feedback, just make sure it's constructive feedback. Not people say, man, your site is garbage, right? That's not constructive feedback. Get constructive feedback. And you know what? Ask them in a way that doesn't make them feel awkward. Not like, hey man, can you break down my site? And then somebody feels like, man, I'm coming and I'm just gonna be chopping you down. Say, hey, what do you like about my site? What do you don't like? What can I do better? What have you learned from other people? What do you like about other people's site that you think I can apply to my site? You remember, entrepreneurship is a team sport, and I want to make sure that you all are, you induct as many members as you can on the team. Remember, I always say, when you get feedback, it is not negative, because they took their time to invest in you and think about something that they wanted to share with you. And a lot of people may call it feedback, but we call it focus groups, right? So make sure, major corporations, the most profitable, I read a study, the most profitable products in many of the major corporations are the ones that were created out of customer complaints, right? Just think about that for a second. When you think about people giving you negative information, there's a big ketchup company. We all know the ketchup company, right? Remember, you got to take the bottle, you got to hit it right on that 57 to get it all out, and it doesn't, it just doesn't come out right, and then half the time you spill it. Well, they went around to many, many homes, and you know what they realized? Half the people were putting their bottles in the refrigerator upside down. Hence, now, don't you see that their product comes in the bottle almost upside down because the base is wider. The head, which is now the base, is wider. That came out of customer complaints. So I want to make sure that you understand how you can increase your value and how people are finding you, and do not take it as something that is small, because whether it's an investor, well, first of all, everybody that looks at your site is an investor. They're investing with their time, or they're buying one product, or they want to invest in you and put money in you. Make sure you get these things up to speed and you stay on top of it. And if you see that my site is missing something or could be improved elsewhere, tell us as well. I'm always open to opinions. So that is the segment of the call, Did You Know? And make sure that you use that for your vital information to grow your company. All right, segment number 2 is my motivation mix. And it's Powershift Your Week Motivation Mix. It's on Spotify. I have my Spotify list where you can go there and look at all the things that motivate me. And let me tell you the song. I really love the song. It's Underdog by Alicia Keys. How many people out here know Underdog by Alicia Keys and love Underdog by Alicia Keys? Let me see anybody out there. Thank you, Contact 171. Thank you, Mel Sandy. Chef's Crown. What's up? All right. So let me tell you why I love this song. The first time I heard the song, I thought it was actually written about me and maybe my mother, on my own come up, the lyrics. And that's the song is really amazing, because I think that music motivates us, because a lot of times when we're down, or we think about songs that were a part of our life when we were coming up, or certain memorable times. It's the soundtracks to our lives, and it can bring us back to really pleasant places, really amazing places. And the reason why I love the song is, check out the lyrics. And these lyrics, I'm sure most of you are going to think they were talking about you as well. They say I would never make it, but I was built to break the mold. The only dream that I've been chasing is my own. So I sing a song for the hustlers trading at the bus stop, single mothers waiting on a check to come. I've been a hustler selling T-shirts on the corner, and my mother was waiting on a check to come, and when I was told that I was never going to be alive, or I was going to be dead or in jail by 21, I didn't allow those things to get to me, and I'm sure many of you didn't allow those things to get to you. So that's the motivational mix of the week, and that is Alicia Keys' Underdog. Please go to my mix on Spotify, my motivational mix on Spotify, my list, and download all those. And of course, I got the Visualize album out there, which is my speaking on a bed of music. And now I want to go into segment number 3, because I'm going to talk to a Q&A with T-Mobile for Business Fan Q&A. Now, remember, last week my Q&A was absolutely amazing, and I'm sure it's not going to be any different this week. So get your pens or get ready to write your notes. And here's who I'm going to bring on. I'm going to bring on a young woman named Black Girl Sunscreen. Her name is Shontay, but I'm going to read, a little bit about her before I bring her on, because as I told you, it's always weird when you're sitting right there and somebody's reading off your thing. So check this out. So Shontay loved being in the sun, but she couldn't find a sunscreen that will protect her skin without covering her in white residue. Now, if you do know, people of color, we always like lotions and things of that nature, but we don't want to look white, because then we look ashy. It looks a little weird, right? So I feel her pain on that one. She did her research and found that there are natural ingredients that can boost melanin production, offer proper UV protection, and be fully absorbed by the skin. She used those insights to create Black Girl Sunscreen in 2016. Black Girl Sunscreen works to educate and empower their customer to protect their skin and their health, and is also made from natural ingredients that make it environmentally friendly. And that's what I really love. And I'm going to get into that with her, because I know that a lot of the sunscreens out there are destroying the coral reef, and I'm going to ask her about that. Made a point to build mutually beneficial relationships with members in the Black community. And check this out. Recently launched in 200 Target stores and secured a $1 million investment from a private female funding source. There's so much in those couple of statements right there that we can all look for, right? All right, so let me bring her on right now. I'm going to look for her right now. Let me okay. Boom. and she's right there immediately. When I love people who are on point. I love people who are on point.
Hi, 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 hi.
How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm really great. I'm really great. Well,
What
it
was
is really. Hmm?
what was going on with those chickens?
They were doing their job. They were overdoing their job. I guess they were like, well, the boss is by the house over here, and we got to clean up as many ticks as we can. But then they started, having their own little party, and they were interrupting my IG live.
Oh boy. That was actually funny.
So where are you based?
Los Angeles.
Los Angeles. How you
Yeah.
doing? Are you safe? Is everything good?
Everything's great. I'm pretty consumed, I must be honest. Business is doing really well. There's been a heightened awareness around Black businesses, and we're part of that. So I'm grateful and thankful.
Very good, very good. Well, congratulations
Yeah,
on
thank you.
your launch, on the target, on your initial funding, on where you are today, as well as people are challenged. But I want to hear a little bit more, about your product and the brand. So why don't you tell me a brief history about it? Because I just breezed over it, but tell me the rest of the history on how you got to come up with it and everything.
Yeah, I mean, my story is evolving just because I'm starting to realize a lot about myself as an adult. Initially, it was because I couldn't find a sunscreen that rubbed into my complexion. As you can see, I'm a dark-skinned woman. But now that I think about it more, I've been a risk taker for a really long time, starting from college, doing my master's, moving from state to state, and now really understanding that removing myself from old environments and putting myself into new environments has created or given me the capacity to be creative. And that's kind of where it came from, being in a really creative space and then finding that, hey, there's a gap in the market and what can I do about it?
And when you say removing yourself from old environments, what type of environment are you talking about? Are you talking about mentally, the people around you, physically?
Yeah, just both. So both, where I lived and so I'm from a small town in upstate New York. Not much going on, honestly.
Where's
So
that town?
Newburgh, you ever heard of it?
Okay, I'm a mile away from it right now. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, really? So
Hmm.
so you know about Newburgh, you know that it's drug infested. There's no jobs. So in order to really do something, you gotta get on out. It's getting a little bit better as people are coming to build up, but I had to go. Is that the chickens again?
It is now. Yeah. Okay, but now you move and getting out of old environment and going into new, and you were starting to broaden your mind, or broaden your thought process. So explain to me, how did the Black Girl Sunscreen come up?
So being, in South Florida for 13 years, going to the beach and then jumping over to Los Angeles and hiking and just being really outdoorsy. My friends would encourage me to wear sunscreen, and I'd be like, no, look how I look, right? I'm looking crazy right now,
Yeah.
and that wasn't okay. And I couldn't be the only Black girl that wanted to protect her skin from the sun, but felt this way. So I literally just jumped on Google, put in keywords, sunscreen for brown girls, sunscreen for Black girls, and came up very shorthanded. And then the question was, can I do something about it?
But, but where was the need to want to wear sunscreen first? Because I know that the big misconception, I can be very honest, and I'm guilty of it as well, that growing up, we didn't necessarily need sunscreen, right? And I know that's a huge misconception, but that's what we always thought, that we didn't need it, or maybe if I go to the islands, I'd use some aloe or this and that. And I'm not even sure if that was proper. Um, where was your need to want to wear it? Did you know the education behind it and said, "Listen, I'm in danger of the sun," or um, well, I think I should? I mean, where was the desire to have sunscreen, and who educated you on the fact that people of color needed just as much?
I got that education myself and after developing the product or before developing the product. But truth be told, like I was that girl that would go outside at a pool party or a barbecue and sit in the shade. right?
Okay.
Because I thought that I was going to get darker, and my skin was hot, meaning it was burning. So I would be afraid just to be exposed in the sun. And that's why my friend said, hey, maybe you should put some sunscreen on. Your skin won't burn, and it's supposed to protect you from the sun. So that's really where the initial need came from.
Okay. And now you say it's environmentally friendly, and what does that mean?
Oh, so we've been really progressive with that. So oxybenzone is a really big word within the sunscreen industry, and Black Girl Sunscreen, we removed that when we launched, even though we got pushback from our manufacturers. But it just means that we are coral reef friendly, and coral reef is just what feeds the aquatic life, and without it, our society is doomed. So Hawaii was the first state to ban sunscreen products with oxybenzone. Key West was the next place to ban it, and then it's just going to snowball. So really, right now, your sunscreen is considered a good sunscreen if you have eliminated that ingredient.
Oxybenzone is
Yep.
something that one second. Let me oxybenzone is something that we should make sure we do not have in any of our products, correct?
Absolutely.
So
So
whether it's yours or anybody else's, that's the one thing that is destroying the coral
coral
reef.
reef, yeah.
And why would manufacturers or any kind of retailers say, well, you need oxybenzone in there?
Well, so from a manufacturer perspective, they're used to doing things the old way, right? Like, no, we're not changing this because this is how the industry has been doing things for years. Why would we listen to you? No, that's just kind of like a trend, right? So that was from a manufacturer perspective. And then when reports in the FDA started coming out with, hey, here's the backup about oxybenzone, that's when it became a no-no. So probably be in about 2017 or so.
And after that, did a lot of other manufacturers comply, or do you feel that the market is still about 80% of people who are using oxybenzone?
No, no, it's definitely changing. So, for example, we have a partnership with a major retailer, as you announced, and Black Girl Sunscreen has a clean badge showing consumers that hey, we have complied with this no oxybenzone kind of rule and regulation. So, I would say that sunscreen companies are starting to transition, and from a consumer standpoint, they're looking for sunscreens without oxybenzone.
Got it. Got it. One second. I'm trying to adjust something on my screen right here.
Yep.
Yeah. There you go. I feel so good. I'm learning so much. When people are saying negative or ignorant things, you can touch them right here, and then you can just remove them from the feed. Did you
Oh,
know that?
no, I didn't know that. I think I saw what you're talking about though.
It's amazing though. It's kind of like uh it's kind of like a poison, or it's kind of like a bad person in your company, or a bad manufacturer that wants to, or it's kind of like removing a poison from your sunscreen, your manufacturing. I feel so good about it now.
Again, that's being a risk taker, right? That's me saying, "Hey, I'm going to go against the grain and do it a way that hasn't been done before." So now we are standing out, and now we're making a statement. So are we not just good to protect for the skin, but we're good for the environment? And that's the mission and the vision of Black Girl Sunscreen, is to educate, first of all, people of color about sun protection, and then to show, hey, we are socially involved as well.
Now, the beauty of scaling, and the challenge of scaling is creative minds like you who have went out of their way to say, how can I make this better? And let me ask you something. This is good. This sunscreen is good for people of any shade, correct? I mean, or
Absolutely.
are there other ones that are more advantageous for people with lighter skin?
No, no. So, I mean, it's just like FUBU, right? We are
Yeah,
we talk to literally a particular consumer. I'm a
right.
Black girl talking to other Black girls. So which have been ignored from that conversation, from sun care conversation for years, Daymond. You couldn't find us frolicking in a sun care ad, lying on the beach, basking in the sun. That just wasn't happening. So can Black Girl Sunscreen and BGS Kids, we have two products, be used on lighter skin complexion? Absolutely. But I want to make sure that people of color know that, hey, we can burn. We are susceptible to melanoma, which we don't necessarily talk about. And then on the cosmetic side, it's great for hyperpigmentation, dark spots, premature aging, and fine lines. So why are we not able to take advantage of something that can help us?
Well, first of all, I haven't heard the word frolicking in years. So frolicking in ads?
Frolicking, yeah, like,
Mm.
pouncing around in the
Yeah,
sand,
I got it.
frolicking,
I got it. No, and I think that that's important, right? It was the same as FUBU. We were making it for a segment of a market, hit people who loved hip hop, and we didn't care who you were if you loved hip hop. Like I always say, we dressed the Beastie Boys all the way to Public Enemy. It didn't matter, right?
yeah.
So now being an entrepreneur who've already done this, you've gone through the hard part, and it's going to still get hard. It's going to be challenging. Everybody thinks it's an easy road because you're going to have a lot of people coming after you trying to do something similar. You're going to have big companies trying to do their version of it. They're going to try to, stop you in the stores. And the biggest challenge with entrepreneurs is scaling. A lot of us want to scale very quickly because while we have this opportunity, we're like, it took me 10 years to get to this point. Now I got to take advantage of it. However, there's also sometimes the go narrow and deep and be the best at who you are. Are you facing well, where's your lip balm? Where do you do outdoor stuff for, like, right now? These mosquitoes have been lighting me up, and I
Mm-hmm.
am not sure why. And of course, I do not want to wear DEET. I want to wear all natural stuff. I know that lavender, I know that natural mint oil and lavender oils keep them away. So I'm planting as much lavender as I can. I'm putting oil in. Are you expanding the line? Is that now? Is that in the future? Maybe not. What are you up to now?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned something in the beginning of the question, and that's the pressure to pump products out, right? It's
Yeah.
like, hey, your signature product, Black Girl Sunscreen, is just hitting, blowing the hinges off the door. Shontay, what else you got? Black Girl Sunscreen, what else you got? And I will say that we are taking our time and we're listening to our consumer to see what they really want and what they need. So currently we have our signature line, which is the SPF 30, and then we have sunscreen for kids, BGS Kids, and that's an SPF 50. So we have two products, and then we have some more coming out.
All right. Well, perfect.
Yeah.
So during this time of scaling, I'm going to let you go in a minute, but I think there's a lot of information for all of the people watching who are, small business operators, and you're going to that point where you're starting to take on the big manufacturers and stuff like that. What would you say was your toughest challenge, getting into the big box stores?
Having them believe that we have a great idea with a great product, and to show them that Black Girl Sunscreen can scale and can be not mainstream, but can be sold. It's not going to be taken in a negative way. I would say that was the biggest challenge. So when we launched, I mean, we did great, and it was all because of the support of the community. And without the ladies literally purchasing 3, 4 bottles at a time, we wouldn't be where we are today.
And did you get and those ladies purchasing 3, 4 bottles at a time? Was it that you started with a small community who knew you where you were, and you kind of were online or calling them or saying, if you like the product, please go buy it here? I mean, what started those ambassadors to just really, you know, you know,
Yeah.
um, bring it home for you? Somebody just told
So,
me I got to adjust my camera. I don't know what's going on here. Let me see.
because we see your head, just your head. Yeah.
That's
Okay.
it? Am I better?
Yeah,
All
it's
right.
good. We launched on Instagram for free, just like you mentioned earlier, right? We took full advantage of that, and I tell everyone, why are you not using your social media to expand your brand, so people can hear your voice? So we launched on social. We did trade shows. We were out in the community, every platform that would give me the chance to talk about Black Girl Sunscreen, I took full advantage of that. You know, I was on the airwaves in South Florida, meaning radio shows and things like that. We just kept it moving. We were never really silent.
Somebody just asked really quick. I'm going to
Yeah.
interrupt you, but somebody asked a great question. Can pregnant women use it?
Yes. So there's certain ingredients within the sunscreen that say pregnant women shouldn't wear sunscreen at all, not just Black Girl Sunscreen.
Okay. So
Yeah.
yes, they can use it, or no, they cannot use it.
I would say refer to a doctor.
Refer to a doctor.
Yes,
All right.
absolutely. That's
Good.
what I would
So
say.
let me ask you, do you have any questions for me? Because I've been asking questions. Yeah, I find it fascinating what you're doing, and I wanted everybody to know as much as you were doing. And I didn't want you to have to sit there and brag about yourself. So I got a lot of the good information out, and I think it's amazing. Is there anything that you have, any questions you have for me?
Yeah, I have a ton of questions. So you started off talking about FUBU today, and I mean, you've made such a great impact on the culture in terms of the acronym FUBU, and I know you know that, right? Because literally
Sure.
people see Black Girl Sunscreen as for us, by us. So can you talk to me and tell me what was your headspace as an entrepreneur versus a creative during that time?
My headspace as an entrepreneur, during, other than a creative. I'm trying to understand that question. The business mindset that I had
Yeah.
against the just the feel of, hey, I have something and I just want to share it with the world.
Right.
The business mindset was pretty simple. It was, can my partners and I, Keith, Carl, and Jay, can we make enough product to maybe get up to a point where we own our own store? And then we realized, wait a minute, why should we own our own store? Because we have a lot of different challenges there. Why don't we use other people's stores? And then so we had a small amount of stores that we would go in, and we would get the product over to them. And then we said maybe we could do a store within a store, because whenever I went into Macy's or one of those places, I saw the big Timberland section. I saw these beautiful sections.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of stores that we sold to in the hood, they didn't have beautiful sections. They just I had hanging racks. So I remember going out and printing 10,000 posters. They were black with just a big FUBU symbol in them. And we would say to the guys, hey, you have that little section over there. It's like, it's crappy. Can we make it a FUBU section? And we go in there and we put all the posters up, probably about 40 of them on cross corner of the wall. We would buy one or two racks, really nice racks, and just put it in there. And then we would do that probably times 8 stores in the city, and we would have 8 small stores within stores.
Got it.
And so what we were using was their ability to pay their real estate and everything else, but then we were also making our section really good so the kids would come and buy and move the goods quicker. And that was the first step of me trying to go into business. And then I said, how can I sell 24 hours a day? And when my head is on the pillow, how can shirts be selling? All right. After I have these stores, there are 8 decently respected stores in New York. We took pictures and videos of them, and we mailed them out to stores all across the country. And we said, this is New York, the home of hip hop, where everybody's from. And this is our section. These are our stores that we're selling in. Why aren't you looking like New York, the home of hip hop? At that time, it was all the other stores wanted to be them.
Okay.
And that's how we started to expand there. But I would run into a lot of roadblocks because that's the one part about kind of like the designing and kind of the distribution. But then I didn't know too much about financing. So then I had to say to myself, how do I learn about financing? And I was almost bankrupt everybody knows the great story of me mortgaging my house. But I was 2 months. I would have been homeless in probably 2 more months if I didn't get a deal with these guys named Norman and Bruce over at Samsung Textile Division, because I didn't realize how much I was in the red at my business, and I thought I knew everything. And that's when I said I got to get other people and I got to get other mentors, because we just don't know it all. When we start business, and I'm sure you've experienced it yourself, you can't know manufacturing, design, warehouse, shipping, billing. I mean, social media, advertising, marketing, the books, the legal. I mean, you got to get people who are going to really help you.
Yeah. So that actually was kind of going to my next question. So what was the feeling when your brain went from niche to mainstream?
The feeling was I've waited all my life to get to this point and nothing's going to stop me. And I'm going to work even harder than I ever can before. But I did have to also look at the data. And the data was that a hot fashion brand lasts 5 to 7 years. So I couldn't be egotistical and say, we're going to be around forever. And I had to say to myself, at the end of the day, don't fall too much in love with your brand where you're not willing to make certain decisions or bring certain things on. And again, I had other mentors, Norman and Bruce, who said, listen, the reality is you're a great marketer, and why don't we, when FUBU starts to slow down, before it starts to slow down, why don't we look at acquiring other brands? Because the real beauty of what we have is you're a great marketer and distributor. And you have all the retail connections, and you have everything else. So why don't when we're at Macy's, and I always use Macy's, of course, because it's a great store. But when we're at Macy's, you're in the young men's section. But why don't we find a brand to acquire that we could take up more real estate in the ladies section? Why don't we find a brand we could take up more real estate in the kids or in the lotions or the bedding department?
Yeah.
Because now you're dealing with the same buyer. You can, instead of saying I have one thing, you can say I have 5 things, and that buyer now does not have to go to 5 different people for the 5 things, and you just save everybody time.
Word. Thanks for that. Thanks for that. So where do you think shopping and retail is going to go now post quarantine?
A lot more are going to go online. You're going to have to create an experience wherever you are. It's Ted from my company said the best. He said, if a newspaper company thought they were only into newspapers and they wanted to sell more newspapers, then they were in trouble. But they realized they were a content company, then they would change with the times, right? And how do these places that are having, listen, humans want to be around each other. I mean, that show was because of the spike in COVID, right? Everybody wants to be out and around each other. We're going to want places to go. But what's the experience going to be when we go? And how is the retailer going to grab a hold of that person and still sell them when they go home? But they're going to be able to allow them to come in and also experience something. I think a lot of retail spaces are going to reduce their imprint, but I think that they're going to have to put way more into the experience there.
Yeah, I just want to circle back to that last question. I mean, you said a lot in a little bit, and I needed that because right now I'm just really in love with Black Girl Sunscreen, right? And we talk about brands having a timeline, and everything is just happening so fast, and I'm working so hard, but it's like certain things I have to let go. So I needed what you just said, and maybe kind of shifting the mentality just a little bit, right? As you go to mainstream and start to really grow. And people in the comments are just like, good questions, dope questions, and you had a dope answer. So I have maybe 1 or 2 more questions that I'm dying to know. So what was your initial reaction when you heard about Black Girl Sunscreen? And what advice do you have for us?
Well, Black Girl Sunscreen, when I heard about it, it said it all right? And my initial reaction was like, duh, why didn't I ever think of that? Or, are you kidding me?
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like that had to be out for years. Why not?
Yeah.
Right? And then my next reaction after that was, how do you find in that market, how do you find the ones that do know how much they do need it? Because of my ignorance as a person of color, it was only after I got to a certain age that I realized, because my wife happens not to be of color. She's white, and she would always say, hey, you need to protect your skin. And she pulled up the stats and the facts, and I said, wow, I just didn't know.
Yeah.
But I also have the same feeling too. I mean, listen, my baby, she's light, but we smack so much white stuff on her. I mean, she just running around and she's just looking crazy, so,
we have something for her.
yeah, no, I know now, but she's just looking crazy. But at least the only time that I like the fact that she has all that white crap all over her is you never gotta say, hey, did your son screen the baby? Because you know that she's walking around looking crazy, but she's a baby, you know. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, but I think it's a brilliant idea, and I think there's so many. I think that it's something that's so needed, and the good thing and the bad thing about when you have a segment of a market who don't know they need something is the bad thing is you don't want to shoot your advertising and your marketing like a shotgun all over the place because a good portion are either not going to know they need it or don't care. That's the challenge because you don't want to share, you don't want to spend too much money doing that.
Okay.
But the ones that do know they need it buy the 2 bottles, the 4 bottles, the 10 bottles. They become your best and biggest ambassador ever because they go out to the world and say, are you crazy? They love to it's almost like telling somebody a secret and saying, don't tell nobody. They're going to tell everybody. And they're the
Yeah.
ones that are going to be out there with people of all colors and say, are you kidding me? You need this so bad right now. And they are going to tell them every time they see them, and they're going to be your best ambassadors. And you got to just make sure that you support them and you give them as much feedback as possible. And no matter how big your brand ever gets, you remember that first 100 or 200 people that supported you to death.
So that was advice within advice, literally, right? So what other advice do you have for a young Black female in a white-dominated space in today's world?
You know, remember that you're a young Black female in a white-dominated space, which is we can only walk into rooms and we can only feel either inferior or superior, or we add value. And being, you know, and I know that we're in a touchy time in the world, but all of us who are of color know that many times in our life we've walked around almost not in shame, but ready to take on the naysayers, the odd looks. I don't care if you're getting on a bus or you're walking into a store or somebody's grabbing their bag with her next to you, you're walking into an interview or it's a teacher. We've always been used to the potential of somebody looking down at you. Or you walk in the room and you say, if I didn't have any value, there wouldn't be no reason for me to be here. And by the way, because of my insight, we're all going to make a whole lot of money. We are all going to make a whole lot of money because I'm going to bring to you some stuff that you never thought of, and you're going to bring to me some stuff that I never thought of. And when black and white gets together, it makes green. It's just a beautiful color, and we're also going to change the way people think, and we're going to change it by doing amazing things where people are going to say, I don't know about any color going on around here. I know we're having a good time. We're educating people. We're making a lot of money. You know, it's like me being the token smart guy on Shark Tank. It's hard being the token smart guy on Shark Tank. It really is. But I overprovide. And then when you look at Shark Tank, you don't see that. You see just a really token smart guy.
Wait. So speaking of Shark Tank, what's going on with the diversification? Like, what's it like being the token?
You know, we had Charles Barkley on, we had Troy Carter on. You know, we need, you know, what we're looking for on Shark Tank, and I know because we always the sharks ask the other. We go out to try to get other sharks as well, right? Mm-hmm. You have to look at it like this. There are a lot of successful people of color in business, but Shark Tank doesn't want anybody they were brought up in a corporation, right? Because they were working underneath somebody else's tool. They want self-made men and women.
Okay.
Right. So we are looking, and you know, we're looking for I've seen them you know, interview Asian females, African American females, and various other things. They try to bust down the you know, the diversity as much as they can, but they keep addressing it. I mean, Shark Tank is a true diversified show. I mean, if you look at it, season 1, 2, and 3, I think there was only one. There was Barbara on the panel, right?
Yep.
But enough women wrote in and said, that's not diversifying enough. That doesn't look like America's boardroom. So they put, instead of Barbara on one panel and Lori on one panel, they always made sure there was 2 women on one panel and 3 males, right? Because they only have 5 seats.
Yep.
Now we only have 20-something episodes. So now how many are going to be 2 females and 3 males? Okay, 2 females and 1 male needs to be African American, or 2, because you got to think about it. America has grown up with the same five sharks. So even if we bring guest sharks in, sometimes America goes, I don't want to see the guest sharks. I know how
Yeah.
these other ones are. And I want. So it's really like, how many pieces can we put in the puzzle here? You know what I mean? So I don't know if I answered it, but I tried to give you as much as I can. But I know that there's always an effort to bring people of color, and I hope that one day maybe it's you and me sitting on the panel against each other, and we can kick Kevin off.
I love your thinking. You know what? The manifestation. I'll take it. I'll
All
take
right.
it. So I got my last question is a pretty heavy one, but I wanted to ask you, as a man, how are you taking care of your skin as a human?
You know, my mother gave me really great skin for my birthday, and it's really worked out quite well. And
Yeah.
I generally have no problems with my skin at all that I know about. Um, I
So
just
so are you using like a 9-in-1? So like you're washing your hair with the same soap that you use for your body? Like what are you doing? Do you put on a moisturizer? Do you cleanse? Like, is there a 2-step, one
yeah,
step?
I'm old school. I'm old school. I'm old school. I'm old school. I'm the one that the one bar of soap that's in the house that Grandpa wipes his crack with, and then you rub your face with, and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. I just
Yeah.
got past that a couple of years ago.
Okay.
I don't know. You know, uh, yeah, word. So yeah, that's just how it
Okay.
goes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I asked that question because this is a real thing, right? Men are typically getting, advice or skincare from their spouse or their mom or their sister, and it's hard to kind of crack that behavior. So that's why I asked you that. My last question is a little heavy. There's so much happening with Black Lives Matter. As a Black man and the influence that you have, what are some of the things that you're doing?
Well, I've done something for so many years. I've been a part of so many organizations, Nifty Network for Teaching Entrepreneurship. I've gone to prisons and spoke to men of color. I am part of my brother's keeper. Various different organizations. There's a blog right now on Daymond.com that highlights actions people can take towards these injustices and things of this nature. I mentor as many as I can. So there's just so I've been doing a lot. Also, I've been a member of I've helped with a company called Hip Hop Against Violence in New York City. Um, so I've been part of a lot of different organizations. I'm just right now giving 100 FUBU suits to kids who are going to go into the work field. Also giving computers and various other things. So
Do you feel pressured?
of course I feel pressure, but not in a weird way. If you really think about it, when I first started FUBU, I remember one of the times when I realized it was more than just a movement for young men and women who loved hip hop. I remember a woman came up to me with tears in her eyes and said to me, I realized I can own my own business after I see you four young men who are doing it. She wanted to own, I think it was a, a bakery. And she was tears in her eyes. She said, I never thought I could own my own business. And maybe I want to be the next Sarah Lee or whoever the case is, or Duncan Hines. Um, so after that, I felt that there was a responsibility that I had, especially when going on Shark Tank and writing books, to say that the perception of people of color or people of any industry that they don't know the fundamentals of business, and the fact that um, I can be a man who can walk in the room, be proud of myself and my color and who I hang out with, whatever the case is, but yet I can sit down, we can talk numbers, and we can go over anything we want. I think that was more powerful than the everybody keep it real and all that stuff. Because like right now, you're very elegant, you're very articulate, and I'm not. And if other people say that to us, we take it a certain way. But you're very poised, right? You can walk into any room and have a great conversation. And a lot of people, prior to maybe social media and a lot of other ways where we can control our narrative, a lot of people just didn't think that we can do that. And I don't understand why. Right. So I think that a lot of times it was by setting an example. Unfortunately, the name right now that I'm going to say is going to be very touchy. But, when Bill Cosby came out with obviously the Cosby Family, and you saw that Theo wasn't on crack.
Yeah.
Theo, didn't get shot, and there could be a doctor and a lawyer in a home, and they, on whenever nights they decide to sing and party, they were just the family. And I love saying it. We all have way more in common than we do apart. And when people see me, I think they respect the fact that they can have that conversation with me and say, what can I do more for the plight that's going on now? I didn't know any better. I thought I was doing enough, but holy crap. You know what I mean? And they feel comfortable. And I think that that's one of my gifts, is the ability to be able to have that conversation with leaders and say, yes, you can do more. Yes, I can do more. Yes, we all can do more,
Yeah. Yeah. It's a heavy conversation. But living as a Black man, this has been your life, all your life.
Yeah,
Um,
I was talking to another CEO who has a big company. He has like 4,000 people work for him. And he said, I've been talking to my employees, and when I talk to the people of color, they're not angry or upset or mad because they seem like they've been through it so long that they can have the conversation calmly. He said, but the young white people on my campus, they want to fight. They are mad. They are like, put Black Lives Matter all over the campus. They didn't realize it was this, and they're coming into their age of saying, holy crap, they're angry because it's new to them. You know what
yeah.
I mean? So yeah, it's a very, very, very crazy time in this country, but we're all going to get through this together.
Um, that's the hope. I mean, just from when I was growing up, I've seen the progress, I felt the progress, and I know that this is a generation that's making the most change. Like,
Yeah.
I feel really proud of who I am and what I represent.
Yeah, same thing. I feel proud of who I am, who I represent, but I feel even more proud about the young generation of all colors who are coming together. And they're like, we're not going to take it anymore. And no, this ain't going to be 3 days. We ain't going to fight for 3 years. This ain't going to be 7 days. We're going at
Yeah,
this.
like
We're going to
2 weeks
change this.
now.
Yeah, yeah. We ain't going to stop, homie. Let's go. All right.
Thank you for having me. This
Thank
was
you
fun.
so much. I wish you all the best. Thank you for educating me and everybody else. And thank you for T-Mobile for Business for highlighting you and bringing you to all of our attention. And I really wish you all the best. And I'm going to start wearing your product now. And I'm going to start talking about it as much as I can.
Thank you. Stay moisturized and protect your skin.
All right. God bless.
Bye.
Absolutely amazing conversation. Absolutely amazing woman. Thank you so much for being there and educating people, yet as well as challenging me. And now it's time for me to challenge you. And that's going to go back to what I was talking about earlier about the stat that I talked about, how many people on mobile devices go to your site. But here's what I want you to do. Challenge of the week. Ask 2 to 3 family members, and your family members or friends, because a lot of times we can't help who our family is, but we can definitely pick our friends and ask them to critique your site, your social media page, everything that you have. And listen to them, though. And remember to ask them to critique it in a good way, and make sure you don't make them feel awkward. Make sure that if they say, well, it's just crap, make sure you know who you're talking to as well. Look at some as people who are technically professional, who are like, yo, I do this on my site and you should do this. And then look at other people who are looking at it purely as a consumer. Hey, I go on there, I don't like some of your pictures, or I think some of your pictures could be better, or I think some of the copy could be better. Remember, on your site needs to be what's in it for the person who is watching, not you. You can't be on there going, me, buy from me, love me, I did this, look at me, ha ha, look at. It needs to be about the person that is watching you and what's in it for them. I'll give you a funny stat or something that reminded me of. They said that when they put up, when they put up iPads and things of that nature, technology at makeup counters, the makeup is 3 times more likely to sell because they refer other people. The same as you do when you listen to your song, you see other people that bought. So when you see the makeup counter and you see those iPads and they did a test, when it says, well, people who bought this shade bought this eyeliner or this or this or this or that. Now, why is the fact incredible? Because when a lot of women or men, whoever are consuming the makeup, when they go to the counter and the person at the counter suggests something, there is a 50% chance that they don't want to buy something that that other person suggests because that person could remind them of somebody their boyfriend used to date. They just don't think that person is attractive enough. They think that person is selling too hard. They think that person ignored them. But technology, in some way or another, they don't think for some reason somebody was programming it saying, if you buy this, you should buy this, you should buy this, but they take the face out of it. And why do I say that against this fact that I'm saying? Because when people feel like you're pushing them or buying or selling to them or pushing too much to them, they feel like, wait a minute, why? What's up? What's up? But when you are giving to people and you're giving them information all the time on your site and all the ways that they can utilize information in their lives, then they want to buy from you. So make sure your site is and all that stuff that you have is really up to par, and keep getting more and more insight. And if you see anything that I'm doing wrong or could be better, please make sure you mention it. All right. Tiffany Brooks. Tiffany Brooke, I think you said that you accept that challenge. So go out there, and I wish you all the best. So thank you for tuning in to Powershift Your Week, presented by T-Mobile for Business. Thank you to Black Girl Sunscreen. Thank you to my chickens for staying quiet. Remember also, catch me tomorrow. Let me see who I have on here tomorrow, because, tomorrow, 1 o'clock, I'm going to bring on 2 people. I'm going to interview them, and I got Bethany Frankel on tomorrow. I got my girl, Bethany Frankel. She don't pull no punches. She don't hold back. She's going to come raw. And I got D. Murphy, my guy who has 5'4" denim. And we're going to talk to him about subscription models, because he does an amazing business with subscription models. I think he also had Young and Reckless, the other clothing brand. So a lot of you who like clothing, who follow me because of that, we're going to be talking about that. And that's pretty much it. So remember, I'm going to see you next week at 1 o'clock for my Powershift Your Week, presented by T-Mobile for Business. And, if you want to get any other kind of resources, you can go to tmobile.com/business for additional resources that can help you hit your goals. And use the hashtag Powershift Your Week and tag me, the Shark Daymond John. And you can always email me at Daymond@daymondjohn.com. God bless you all. All the best. Peace.
If you want another awesome video in our Black Excellence series, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.